So I want to go through and show you guys some different draft grades that the Packers got from different outlets like ESPN, PFF, things like that. And Bill Huber put out this article where he found all these draft grades for the Packers. And so I'll leave the full article in the description section and down below. But I want to go through all these. I discussed the Packers draft, gave them a draft grade on Saturday night once the 7th round was over. If you guys watched that, I gave them an A. I just really don't think there could have been that much more done to really help this Packers team in 2024. I love the picks the Packers made. Lots of, they really came in and bolstered those positions of need. Offensive line drafted 3 of them. Safety drafted 3 of them. A stud in round 2, Javon Bullard. And then also added some pieces in the linebacker room with Edgerrin Cooper being the main one there in round 2. So I loved what the Packers did. Those are my thoughts. But let's go through some of these other sites and see, do they think the same thing? What are they thinking? So here it is, the article from Bill Huber. Sports Illustrated B+. So his team breakdown included his upbeat thoughts on first-round pick Jordan Morgan. This is Matt Verderame. He says Morgan was beloved by a few teams with coaches from the Kyle Shanahan tree, thanks to his movement ability, which should really shine in the Packers' outside zone system. With some proper coaching, and Green Bay has an excellent offensive line staff, Morgan could end up being one of the best tackles in this draft class. And if that happens and the Packers, got him in round 1, they're going to be stacked on the offensive line, as they typically are. They just do a great job, as I said, of developing offensive line talent. And this was the first offensive lineman drafted in round 1 since 2011 for the Packers. And so they clearly loved the guy, and I loved the pick as well. Then we have here Pro Football Focus, B+. I think B+ is pretty solid, for lots of these grades. We'll see here. The B+ sounds good until you realize PFF handed out 13 A's. So I guess PFF thinks the Packers had, there were 13 other teams that had better grades than the Packers. It says this, there are breakdowns of all picks to dig into. The last was 7th round cornerback Kalen King. King was once pegged as a potential first-round selection in the 2024 NFL Draft. He struggled in 2023, earning a 60.3 PFF grade that ranked 308th among FBS cornerbacks. However, he recorded an 89 PFF grade in 2022. Good for 6th at his position. He's shown he's fully capable in pass coverage and is a solid value pick here for Green Bay. So I like that 7th round pick. I like it as well. For any kind of guy that people once thought maybe would have been a first rounder, to drop to round 7, maybe the Packers can get him back to playing like he used to, which would be huge, and that would be a huge value. Then we have CBS Sports, gives him a B+ as well. They say here, Chris Trapasso called general manager Brian Gutekunst his spirit animal. Trapasso, like the last 5 picks, Jacob Monk and Keaton Oladapo got A's to lift the overall grade. 9 teams received an A, so the Packers was tied for 10th best. So that's not too bad, top third of the NFL. And here's the thing, Brian Gutekunst, he's, done a really good job for himself as the Packers GM. And, to get a guy like Jordan Love in late round 1 a few years back, and for him to play as he has so far, and then some of the past couple drafts getting, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Zach Tom round 4. Gutekunst knows what he's doing. I think he's one of the best GMs in the NFL. And so I do trust the Packers and their eye for talent. Then we got USA Today says B+. Nate Davis ranked the Packers draft 10th overall. He called the roster increasingly bulletproof. You love to hear that. First round tackle Morgan, second round linebacker. He just listed them off. Should all be cheaper, more effective upgrades for Bakhtiari, Campbell, Savage, and A.J. Dillon. Very true. Then we got Washington Post, B+. Mark Mask liked how the Packers added to their talented young roster. They landed a pair of potential defensive contributors in round 2 in linebacker Edgerrin Cooper and safety Javon Bullard. And they chose a 3rd round running back Marshawn Lloyd, who could split carries with free agent newcomer Josh Jacobs after they released Aaron Jones. Adding Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt in the final round also was justified. Another team with a bigger need at QB probably should have done that sooner. So the Packers take a potential solid backup, maybe starter one day, who knows, somewhere else in round 7. But my thinking for why I gave the Packers an A is because on defense, the holes were at safety and linebacker. And you could argue maybe one of the cornerback positions, maybe where you have either Valentine, or Stokes. You could have upgraded there if you drafted a corner early, potentially. But the Packers got potentially, maybe, likely, 2 starters in Cooper and Bullard in round 2. And so with already having Xavier McKinney back there, free agent safety, and then Jair, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Quay Walker, some other guys as well. I like how the Packers, bolstered this room. And, they say that they don't want to draft for need. Typically, they want to take best player available. But when Gutekunst was talking about the draft, he was saying how when the values are pretty similar, sometimes they'll move towards need. And it sounds like that's what they did here because the first 3 picks were all needs, top needs for the Packers. Then we got ESPN gives them a B. So they're dropping from B+ to B. Mel Kiper liked the top of the draft with 4 A's and 5 B+ grades. The Packers were in a tie for 10th. So it seems like most of these draft experts, whoever's writing all these columns for these sites, have the Packers in like the top 10. They say this, or Kiper says this: if only every prediction in my mock draft were as easy as Green Bay's this year. For months, I've said the Packers needed to plug their void at left tackle in round 1. Jordan Morgan was a stalwart on the blind side for Arizona who rarely missed an assignment. He blew up edge defenders in the run game and made them look silly in pass sets. He'll be a plug-and-play starter. Cooper and Bullard were the top players at their positions in Kiper's rankings. I was all in on the Packers after their first 3 picks, but the rest of this haul leaves me underwhelmed, especially on day 3. Cooper and Bullard save it from a C+. So I guess Kiper doesn't like what Gutekunst did later in the draft. I think, though, to be able to get a few offensive linemen, as they did later, is wise. They needed to get some more depth in there, and the Packers are really good at coaching up these guys. So I like the end of the draft for the Packers. NFL.com gives them a B. Chad Reuter gave the Packers a B on Thursday, a B on Friday, and B- on Saturday. Then we'll just move a little bit farther. Fox Sports B. The Packers stocked up on safeties for new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. They got McKinney in free agency. Still drafted 3 more players at the position. Javon Bullard is an excellent value. The other big splash was USC running back Marshawn Lloyd, who will go up against his college quarterback twice a year. Throw in a couple additional offensive linemen for depth / competition, and you have a perfectly solid Green Bay draft. Bleacher Report B. Yahoo B, Associated Press B, Pro Football Network B-. I'm curious to see who gave the Packers, the lowest draft grade. The Ringer C, that's the lowest so far. Are there any lower? No, that's the lowest. Let's see what they say here. Finally, some deviation. Only one team had a worse draft than the Packers, according to Danny Kelly. Really? The Packers hit for contact, but there might not have been any home runs. The team grabbed a versatile lineman in Jordan Morgan in the first round, giving the team flexibility at both tackle and guard. They nabbed an explosive, rangy linebacker in Edgerrin Cooper in the second round, and then picked a versatile safety / nickelback in Javon Bullard in the third. I'm a fan of USC running back Marshawn Lloyd, who will play behind Josh Jacobs, but could compete for snaps with A.J. Dillon in year 1. I don't see how 31 other teams had a, better draft than the Packers. Don't agree with that one. But it is what it is. So that's pretty much how the entirety of the NFL, or I guess social or sports media sites, view the Packers draft. Mostly pretty high, seemingly around 10. I'd probably put them in that range, considering I gave them an A. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you want more Packers content, make sure you turn on the post notifications so you don't miss any news. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.